Now it's time for Polly Nonsense.
Because when you do the right thing, when you ask the right question, they try to silence you, they try to censor you.
To be honest, Sean, that question's come slightly out of left field.
I believe we have to hold them accountable. I haven't seen all the facts beyond the public.
Because I'm engaged in an amoral activity which is not meant to have anything to do with guilt.
I wanted to try to move the needle in some small choices along the way to sort of say, this matters to me.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to another rendition of the Polly Nonsense podcast, hosted by Captain Kirk.
And that's me.
Monsieur Weber.
What up?
1B. I'm some guy named Jason. On the show today, we got so much stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about ChatGPT, what that means, AI. Everyone's saying stop, so that's kind of a sign. Anyway, talk about that. We're going to talk about the ATF confiscation of guns. It's going to be an interesting conversation. And we're all going to talk about the bet that we have that we'll let you know at the end of the show what the bet is and who will win. What are the odds of me winning?
Right. Don't forget we're talking about Trump.
But first,
a grand jury here in New York City has just handed up an indictment against former President Donald Trump, making him the first former president in U.S. history to face criminal charges. This, of course, is unprecedented.
Talking about Donald Trump.
Have to.
What happened? What happened to him? I didn't hear about it. What happened?
Well, you see, he got an award.
What happened? I didn't hear a word.
A major award.
No one. No one. Yeah, that's crazy. He got arraigned. There you go.
Set the precedent.
Purple arraigned. Yeah.
Selling his own fake mugshot.
Yeah, that's funny on a T-shirt.
Well, he really wanted the real one. Everybody wanted the real one.
Yeah.
Alex Jones made his own one.
Why? So why? Why would you want your own mugshot? I don't understand.
It's money. It's perfect advertising. Just like Elvis has one, just like Jimi Hendrix has one.
Yeah. So if you can't get a mugshot, you might as well make your own mugshot.
Fuck yeah.
34 counts? Is it 34 counts he's up on?
34 counts of no crime.
You would have thought this man took money from the communist Chinese. You would have thought his son took money from the communist Chinese. You would have thought he's the criminal of the century. What exactly did he do? So they had to concoct all these phony crimes because he didn't do anything. So the Manhattan DA should be disbarred, not only because of the way he campaigned, because you know what? This is crap that a pre-law student shouldn't even put in front of a damn judge. That's number one. Number two, Letitia James in Albany looking for crimes and then goes after civil suits. She's another one who should be disbarred for the way that she campaigned. The legal profession is an embarrassment right now. The judges are a humiliation right now. They need to get their ass in gear and get their act together and get this country back instead of giving a rubber stamp to all this behavior. We have a Democrat attorney general in New York, a Democrat DA in Manhattan.
34 counts of no crime. Yeah. So we'll see. Like we were saying in the lobby that if CNN is saying like, yeah, guys, I don't think this is going to float. I don't think this is going to float.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's out of statute. Not only that, his some information has come out January 3rd of 2017 to not have a conflict of interest with his businesses and being the president. He gave up all ownership or all business to his sons.
Yeah.
So the stuff Bragg is trying to get him for, he wasn't even in charge.
Well, we'll see. Yeah. I mean, I don't think much is going to happen. I don't know. And so he's doing court December something?
Yeah, December 4th.
December 4th.
There's a lot of analysts say it will not get that far.
Yeah. Yeah.
The ones we got to worry about are the indictments in Washington and Georgia.
And everywhere else.
Yeah.
It's just crazy that it's something that happened, but that both sides are like, yeah, like the Democrats, they want Trump to be the guy. They want to beat Trump. And they're kind of rigging the system, as it were. That's weird. And then the right likes it because it's Trump and he can finally have a mugshot. You know, I'd buy a t-shirt with Donald Trump's mugshot on it. Sure. But donate. You have to donate, though. You can't buy it. You have to donate money.
It doesn't matter. You're still getting it.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah,
but I'm going to tell you, even some of the Democrats are now coming to Trump's side. Mitt Romney this morning is defending Trump.
Yeah.
That is was never going to happen.
Did you say Democrats and then Romney?
Yeah,
That was nice.
I did that on purpose.
Mitt Romney in his statement today saying, I believe President Trump's character and conduct make him unfit for office. Even so, I believe the New York prosecutor has stretched to reach felony criminal charges in order to fit a political agenda, which is pretty notable because certainly Mitt Romney is not one to mince his words when it comes to the former president.
Not only that, then we got with Trump in general, because of everything and what we're going to talk about with Nashville.
Yeah.
Is Caitlyn Jenner is defending Trump.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are now like, this isn't going to go anywhere.
No.
And then we have Korean Jean-Pierre. Oh, I can't talk about ongoing investigations.
Yeah.
We would never do that.
We would never do that. Here in this room, that's not what we do. And that one guy, what was the reporter? He was from somewhere, and he was like, well,
Africa, somewhere in Africa.
So you're talking about Simon Atib.
Oh, yes, that was great. No, that guy, yeah.
So the White House Correspondent Association has decided that I'm not worth it. I'm not supposed to be a member of the association. They refuse to renew my membership. They are trying to help the press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, because when you do the right thing, when you ask the right questions, they try to silence you, they try to censor you. And the only thing they are doing to me right now is trying to punish me for trying to be a real journalist, for asking the question that the American people really care about.
Who you're talking about was New York Times reporter, I think his name is Michael Scherer.
Yeah.
He put up some resistance. And
he just said, like, yeah, well, how come all those other times you talked about, suits and all that kind of stuff about January 6th? She was just like, listen.
That was an extraordinary situation and violence. People died that day.
Why isn't there a similar kind of assessment about how the world is watching us now? Good or bad? I'm not making a judgment whichever way. I'm just saying.
And I hear your question. January 6th was a different moment. It just was. It was something that was incredibly devastating. People died on that day.
For being so arrogant, she's also so patronizing. And
well, I mean, but to be a press secretary for the White House, I mean,
it's a thankless job.
Good God. I mean, it's honestly, that'd be the worst job in the government.
Yeah, there hasn't been a single SNL skit about her. Right. Yet she's ripe for comedy.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, yeah.
What was Kayla McKinney was the best. She was the best press secretary and hot.
Oh, is that the blonde one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Kylie.
Like she would show up with a notebook, and
she didn't have a notebook. She didn't have to barely read her notes. She knew.
She would do stuff.
She would bring the receipts.
Oh,
so
yeah,
she would bring back something that a reporter said and just totally expose him and embarrass him and go viral. I miss her a lot.
Yep.
Because
look at you two.
Because
we're in love.
Yeah,
you couldn't tell.
In love with the White House press secretaries under Trump. One of them is now a governor. So bringing this all back to the indictments, what Alvin Bragg did is fulfill his pre-election promise of getting Trump.
Right.
And I've seen him up front and seen the lawlessness that he can do.
And you believe it should happen?
I believe we have to hold him accountable. I haven't seen all the facts beyond the public, but I've litigated with him, and so I'm prepared to go where the facts take me once I see them and hold him accountable.
He was like, I'm going to get that guy. Hey, just so you guys know.
He ran his whole campaign on it.
I'll get him. I'll get him for you. Don't you worry.
And we have his colleagues saying, oh, yeah, we're going to infiltrate the DA's office, appoint our own public defenders, and destroy the criminal justice system.
Yep.
I decided that if I wanted to really dismantle this system in a way that provided true public safety for my community, that I needed to become a prosecutor. When the opportunity came, having no interest in politics and never thinking it was something I wanted to do, I sought the position, and against all odds, I got it. And so I was able to get rid of the prosecutors that were in that office that I felt were harming our community and replace them with public defenders.
Not including he's completely backed by Soros.
No, you can't say that. That's anti-Semitic.
I don't give two shits. Soros helped Hitler go to Jews' house and take their stuff and help turn them in. And he's a Jew.
Best time of his life?
Yep. He said it.
No feeling of guilt.
No.
For example, that I'm Jewish, And here I am watching these people go. I could just as easily be there. I should be there. None of that.
Well, of course, I could be on the other side, or I could be the one from whom the thing is being taken away. But there was no sense that I shouldn't be there, because that was, well, actually, funny way, it's just like in markets, that if I weren't there, of course I wasn't doing it, but somebody else would be taking it away anyhow. In other words, whether I was there or not, I was only a spectator, the property was being taken away. So I had no role in taking away that property. So I had no sense of guilt.
Are you religious?
No.
Do you believe in God?
No. I don't feel guilty because I'm engaged in an amoral activity which is not meant to have anything to do with guilt.
Okay. Well, listen. I know. Sometimes I feel like you guys are yelling at me. And it's like, listen, okay. You know?
We're proud to be Americans.
Yeah. Well, and I think you're both a little mad about the Trump thing.
We're mad at the situation because once it goes after Trump, it goes after us.
Right.
Oh, yeah. They broke that glass ceiling.
Yeah.
They couldn't do it with Hillary, so they did it with Trump.
Now, they did set the precedent. And it's all been talked about. And I'm gonna just quote Q a little bit, and it's going to be not verbatim. But the idea is setting precedent. It opens the doors, and it gives the boomerang effect. And guess what happened 2 days after the indictment? It's now been announced that Obama is resettling in Kenya in June of this year for at least a year.
And see, I did not look that up. I just saw the headline. You shared the headline. I didn't look it up, but you shared the headline.
After everything Trump said about his birth certificate being fake and he's a Kenyan national and there's pictures of him with his grandmother in Kenya, he is going to a country that's non-extraditable during the ideas of a boomerang indictment on him to make sure he's not swooped up.
Swooped. Well. Okay. Well, I mean, that's nuts.
So the article talks about how from furtherafrica.com, it talks about Obama's team has said he's interested in working with local filmmakers in Kenya because that's where his forefathers are from, and reaching out in his party, blah, blah. I mean, they even quote David Axelrod, who used to work with the Obama administration, about him going down to Kenya.
Was it down to or over to?
He's going to be special envoy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
special envoy to Kenya?
Mm-hmm. And so the article ends, meanwhile, Kenya may explore the possibility of Obama immediately talking to opposition leader, I don't even know, I don't want to be racist, Raila Odinga, over the ongoing anti-government protests. Top leadership believes Obama will prevail over the opposition, with an insider saying Obama could stop the sun with his words and could calm the ocean with his hands.
Oh my goodness.
And it ends like this.
What outlet is this?
This is furtherafrica.com.
Okay.
So it ends like this. This was posted April 1st. Happy April Fool's Day.
Is it really April Fool's?
Yep.
Oh, they got you, bro. They got you.
Son of a bitch.
They got you, dude. Oh, see, you can't believe everything. That's hilarious. I was like, I don't. But this is why we like you, Weber. You got your feelers out there. You don't know what's going on. You just sending back headlines.
That breaks my heart because the actual Q quote word for word is, "When we're done, he'll claim Kenyan citizenship as a way to escape."
Well, yeah. Oh my goodness.
Good old Q.
Well, the whole system has been against Trump this whole time. Like he's the chink in everyone's armor. Like he's the one that got in the middle and just gummed everything up. And if they can get rid of him, then they can just keep it all moving the same way.
Which is to enslave us.
I know. Well, odds are. What do you want from me? Yeah.
You're over there looking like a battered wife.
Well, because I don't know what to say because it's I don't know. It's upsetting, and I think it's a precedent that is amazing, and it's amazing how both sides want it, and that makes me nervous that both sides want it, and that's what
So back to the precedent.
Yes.
The idea of all this is, just like with the Supreme Court, Trump adamantly said he didn't want his taxes released. Made it so that it was just very boisterous on his side, that he didn't want them released, made it look like he was defending, he was defending his right, and said to put it to the Supreme Court, for the idea to send it to the Supreme Court to set the precedent so everybody else's tax returns can now be gotten. He made it that way. It's genius.
Yeah.
Then during the arraignment, let's go one step on this. During the arraignment, when he was being, read his rights or whatever the case may be with Alvin Bragg,
right?
The other New York Ninth Circuit Court awarded him $122,000 in the Stormy Daniels case. She now owes him another $122,000 while he was in court for this situation.
So she owes him money?
$650,000 now.
Wow. So he's making money off of the thing that he's accused of paying off.
Right, because he did. Yeah.
That's crazy. Well,
it shows the sham.
Yeah.
It's all out in the open for people who have critical thinking.
Well, it's obviously it's a setup.
Of course.
And if you guys know me, I'm not a huge Trumper. I'll be honest with you people.
Oh yeah, that's why you're wearing the MAGA hat. Okay.
I'm not wearing me. I'm not anti-Trump. I'm not like a never Trumper, but I'm not pro-Trump. I don't know. I've never voted for him. I always vote independent.
It's funny. I met you when you seemed a little more financially profitable when Trump was in office. That's when I met you.
I was also taller. I've gotten shorter, dude.
Biden does that to people.
He's also made me shorter.
Inflation's a hell of a drug.
Yeah, so we were talking about Caitlyn Jenner, and you were saying that you think it all started with Caitlyn Jenner.
I had never heard of a high-profile individual turning trans until he came out.
Especially one that was on the wheat. I mean, he was revered by in the 70s for being the greatest Olympian for track and field.
Yeah.
He was on the Wheaties box.
He was a decathlon? No, decathlon, right?
Yeah, I think he was mostly a runner.
Yeah,
but
he
was
an Olympian.
And every little boy, I guess I've heard. I wasn't born in the 70s like you. That every little boy and wanted to be like him. That's when track and field exploded in high schools. That's when all this stuff happened. And then for him to be that high profile, that athletic, that he's just way up there in social culture, and then to transition into and be a transgender and all this other stuff. Like Kirk said, he broke the mold literally for this all to be what we're dealing with right now. And now he's actually defending the women in sports, biological women, not competing against transgender females that want to be, men that go into that to beat them, because it's not right.
Right.
Trying to maintain Title IX, which was fought for in the 70s, in order to create a funding mechanism for women's sports.
Right.
And then these trans activists come in trying to erase womanhood under the guise of diversity, inclusion, and equity. And thankfully, I mean, there's some pushback, but as we saw in like the Country Music Awards or what have you, there are freaks out there that will enable and platform this stuff.
Yeah. Not even platform, I mean, sponsor.
Right.
What's the Bud Light thing is crazy.
Dylan Mulvaney?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I mean, and their stocks are going to plummet. Kid Rock, what he did is going to you got to think the whole South loves Kid Rock.
I don't understand the move.
Ever since I took this job, I wanted to try to move the needle in some small choices along the way to sort of say, this matters to me.
It's the dumbest move ever.
Yeah,
their
understand the move.
advertising PR person
they're missing their demographic on that one. You know, like they are missing the demographic.
Because how many? Let's just say it this way. And I have gay friends. I assumingly have transgender friends. I can only guess. The idea here is that I've been to parties at their house. I've hung out with them. They're not drinking Bud Light.
Right.
They're very prissy.
Oh yeah.
They're not drinking Bud Light.
Yeah.
So now they've alienated the people who actually drink Bud Light, which are the country music.
How do you? That's bad. You bring in the marketing crew on that one. You know, I mean, that's it. We're having a meeting. What happened here?
Go woke.
Why are we doing this?
Well, to be fair, Build-A-Bear has the right idea in making sure that the little kids that come into their stores are insured to trans exposure or whatever, trans visibility or whatever they call it. Yeah, that they know that trans people exist so that they can create their own trans bear.
Yeah, it's a RuPaul bear.
RuPaul bear.
Yeah.
The funny thing is,
it's 18 plus though. 18 plus. You have to be over 18 years old to buy that bear for somebody. I don't know. It's 18 plus.
I don't know about you, but me
rated our version of Build-A-Bear.
Me growing up with my stuffed animals, they never had genitalia.
Right.
Well, that's just weird.
It's just a bear.
And I just don't understand why it's being pushed. And you can feel it. Like it's just. I mean, okay, all right, whatever. Like I don't care. Like Caitlyn Jenner. The reason why that's interesting is because I don't care. Like you do you. Like you were an Olympian and now you did this. Okay, that's fine. You know. Like, but now that it's like, oh my, we're going to do this and we're coming after your kids and everyone's going to be doing this. And we're like, you can't watch certain cartoons because you don't know what they're saying to them now. And it's like, it's crazy.
So that men's choir group that went after the kids, it's disgusting. And most of them were pedophiles, registered sex offenders with child porn.
Oh my goodness.
So to those of you out there who are still working against equal rights, we have a message for you. You think we're sinful? You fight against our rights. You say we all lead lives you can't respect. But you're just frightened. You think that we'll corrupt your kids if our agenda goes unchecked. Funny, just this once, you're correct. We'll convert your children. Happens bit by bit, quietly and subtly, and you will barely notice it.
I haven't verified that fact, but
you will, I promise.
But that San Francisco Gay Men's Choir video, "We're coming for your children. We're going to make them allies of our cause," and then they come out and they say, "No, it was
tongue in cheek,
satirical. It was a joke." Give me a break.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fact check that. I promise you, a lot of them are actually registered sex offenders and child pornography.
I just don't. Yeah, it's just the whole thing. It's just.
Well, as we know, Obama is going to Africa, so we know the veracity of the claim in question.
Well, I will say that in this, me getting duped like that,
it's awesome.
We have to just take a step. I got to defend my here.
Sorry, that's just great. It's exactly what this team needed.
Leonardo DiCaprio testified this morning in court during a trial about money laundering to one of the Fugees rappers, and Obama was named as receiving $30 million from Chinese organization in Malaysia during this whole thing through Haiti, and Leonardo DiCaprio absolutely named Obama receiving $30 million bribe or something like that from a CCP through the Malaysia.
In what jurisdiction? What court was he in?
I don't know which state it was. It's a whole big money laundering thing, but Obama was named in it.
Wow, jeez.
Because that's the whole idea with Haiti and what things happen with the Red Cross and the money and all that kind of stuff.
Oh my goodness. Well,
New York Post.
There you go.
Leonardo DiCaprio testifies in Fugees lobbying trial. Fugees. That financier Joe Lowe tried to funnel $30 million to Obama.
Joe Lowe.
$30
million.
Not to be confused with J-Lo.
So is anything going to happen? Nothing's going to happen with this, though,
but
right?
See, that's why I thought the whole going to him.
I'm
like, this is false setting.
I understand.
That was not an April Fool's because that came up today.
That's hilarious.
DiCaprio has been cooperating with the U.S. government's investigation. Michelle faces 11 criminal counts for what prosecutors said were 3 separate lobbying schemes by Lowe and Beijing to influence both the Obama and Trump administrations. DiCaprio told a Washington jury that Lowe told him about his plan to donate up to $30 million to Obama's 2012 campaign in what he described as, quote, a casual conversation about what party he was in support of.
Oh, and I was going to talk to you too. Where's the aliens, bro? Huh? Remember we talked about the aliens last time? It was supposed to happen on that Sunday with the time traveler. So I'm thinking.
I think the drag queen scared him away.
I'm thinking though, okay, if you were the time traveler, right? And the aliens didn't come, what would you do?
Oh, you know why they didn't come?
I just thought. Why didn't they?
Because there was a big shooting in Nashville, so they got scared.
Oh, they got scared. And they left.
They're like, screw this, and just flew away.
See you later, aliens. They didn't come. And this guy from the future, for those of you who don't know, ladies and gentlemen, a person who said he was from 30 years in the future?
I don't know.
50 years? Whatever, he was from the future. And said that aliens are going to come.
Didn't happen.
It's a few weeks ago. It didn't happen. So, it's kind of bummed, you know. Looked at my wife and I was like, hey, we don't have to do the dishes. The aliens are coming, you know. Don't worry about it. Who needs dishes when the aliens come, you know?
There were a bunch of more Pentagon stuff on the idea of these, some more reports that they're not releasing on alien stuff. So there's a lot of that still going on.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of that stuff. Everything's going on. There's nothing like everything. You can talk about anything now. You know, it's crazy.
So as far as the San Francisco Gay Men's Choir being potential sex offenders and pedophiles, the evidence on this evangelicaldarkweb.org, it matches names on the roster of the Gay Men's Choir with names in the sex offender registry, and it has likelihood. I'm sorry, like there's like 6 that is high likelihood, but then everything else is like probable, unknown, and then weak.
It's still creepy. It's still that whole thing's creepy.
Like,
you know what I mean? Like,
I don't need to know that they're on a list.
Yeah, I don't.
To
The whole
want them
thing's
to be
creepy.
on a list.
It's just
even
creepy
a weak
in general.
idea that they might be on a list. That's an idea that they might be on a list.
Yeah. Well, and I like what a couple shows ago, you're like, you know, when Joe Biden says the financial institution is secure, that means it's not secure.
Right.
Every time we were
yeah.
That's hilarious.
Well, the San Francisco, you know, the idea of the transgender and the drag queen story hours and all that stuff, going after kids and putting it in our faces.
Yeah.
There's a group out there called Gays for Groomers, and they are absolutely against
Gays against groomers.
They are absolutely against what is going on right now because the idea is that the gay people had fought so hard to get their rights to just love who they wanted to love, marry who they wanted to marry, and go on their life just like we all do. But this transgender movement particularly is getting a little worse than just the drag queen idea, because they're taking what they fought for and they're making a mockery of it and making it so that you know, even they are being attacked, and they don't want any of this.
Yeah.
They don't want this spotlight on. That's not what they fought this for.
So there's a movement called LGB without the T, an attempt to split the transgender side of the equation away from what we would consider the more traditionally marginalized homosexual and bisexual, etc., and not do the transing anymore. I fully support that, and I'm glad that people are standing up. There are affiliated people like Riley Gaines. I believe she was from Kentucky. A swimmer hates what Leah Thomas is doing. That's the trans woman. So that means a man who thinks he's a woman.
That's confusing.
So, so there are people speaking up and trying to prevent this from happening. And then there are people that want to shove it down our throats using violence and death.
The pastor's daughter, her 2 classmates, the head of the school, the custodian, and a substitute teacher, all victims of the latest senseless school shooting in America.
Jeez.
Yeah, and in Canada, just today or yesterday, they are putting a bill together to protect them, so that if you talk badly of them and it's just verbal, just badly of them, or stop what they're, you know, that kind of what they're doing illegally already, that now it's a crime against you. And that was a big press conference this morning.
And then we have the New Zealand The new
Prime Minister. That was a good one. That's a good one. I showed that one to my wife. I was like, "You guys see this? This guy he can't do it." He's just like, I wasn't expecting that question. Like, dude,
really?
How do you and how does this government define a woman?
To be honest, Sean, that question's come slightly out of left field for me. Biology, sex, gender. People define themselves. People define their own genders.
I'd ask again, how do you define what a woman is?
Well, I think as I've just indicated, I wasn't expecting that question, so it's not something that I've, pre-formulated an answer on. But in terms of gender identity, I think people define their gender identity for themselves.
Well, it's like, hey, dude, what color is that door? You know, like, if
I'm not a painter.
If you're not supposed to see blue and it's blue, you're just like, well, I wasn't expecting to get that question about the color of that door.
That question when I was 4.
Right.
Myself.
In his defense, we have a sitting Supreme Court justice that during her confirmation process was asked what a woman is, and she was like, "I'm not a biologist. I don't know.
I'm not a chef.
Jackson.
Yep.
What's a cake? I'm not a chef. I have no idea what a cake is. You asking me? I'm not. Come on. I don't know a good primer. I'm not a painter.
You know, this all comes down that there's I think Sam Harris says that this is the time that in history there's an idea that when we start to debate or have problems with our genders, that's when
the empires fall.
The civilizations collapse.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And there's an anti-fascist activist, author, essentially communist, Masha Gessen, used to be in Putin's Russia. Then she came over to America, and she's on like NPR, PBS, everywhere. So I think it was in 2013 or so, maybe 2012. She actually came out and said that, well, people say that gay marriage won't affect traditional marriage, but that's a lie. It has to change. I want to end marriage. And that was back in 2012.
Yikes.
I also think equally that it's a no-brainer that the institution of marriage should not exist. Fighting for gay marriage generally involves lying about what we're going to do with marriage when we get there. You know, because we lie that the institution of marriage is not going to change. And that is a lie. The institution of marriage is going to change, and it should change. And again, I don't think it should exist. I don't like taking part in creating fictions about my life. That's sort of not what I had in mind when I came out 30 years ago. You know, I have 3 kids who have 5 parents, more or less. And I don't see why they shouldn't have 5 parents legally. I don't see why we should choose 2 of those parents and make them into a sanctioned couple. And because between those 5 parents we have 2 groups with 2 different citizenships. And really, I would like to live in a legal system that is capable of reflecting that reality. And I don't think that's compatible with the institution of marriage.
Well, I just...
The writing was on the wall.
So palatable. So palatable. Like, it's just like, dear God, you guys just stop it. Just stop. Leave me alone.
All this media stuff over the Nashville shooting. There's a media outlets now coming out and apologizing to the dead transgender person for dead naming and or dead gendering them because they didn't call it out correctly. That person's fucking dead for shooting kids.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Madonna's throwing a benefit concert for the trans activist in Nashville, not for the children or the teachers or the Christians that were killed.
Yeah,
it's satanic.
As
I was telling you out in the lobby, I haven't. Or I was telling somebody else, I wasn't raised super religious.
Right.
I believe in a higher power, whatever, but not super religious. I didn't like the Bible thumpers. I didn't like it being pushed down my throat, i.e. what the transgenders are doing. But some of this stuff is almost forcing people into looking at the idea of Satan and Satanism for what they are doing. Because they're pushing people to do horrible things.
Yeah. It's nuts. Ugh. And I mean, yeah.
And they won't release the manifesto?
Or the suicide note they found in her house, his house, its house.
I know.
He, she, it, whatever it is.
Some person with a mental illness, that's all that matters.
You're not allowed to say that, sir. It's the guns, okay?
Well, and I got the guns, and that's okay. And so so you brought you sent a tweet, not tweet, a text about what? So the ATF confiscation of guns.
Yeah, the current ATF director.
Yeah. Okay.
He was undergoing confirmation last year. He's worked on like counterterrorism cases under the Department of Justice, I believe. So he's dealt on like a different tact. I don't know why he's the ATF director, but he was asked by Tom Cotton out of Arkansas. Simple question. It's a variation of a question that we just went through.
What is an assault weapon? Could you define it for me?
This guy stumbles and bumbles, and well, you see, if you look at it, couldn't answer the question, and now he's going to be in charge of any potential gun grabs.
Yeah,
which they will do.
Yeah,
oh, they will try.
Senator, when I was a candidate for office, I did talk about restrictions on assault weapons. I did not define the term, and I haven't gone through the process of defining that term. That would only be for the Congress if it chose to take that up to do. And if you chose to take it up, I would be at the ATF, and there was perhaps expertise or data we could give you so that you could make the appropriate decision to both protect the public and protect the Second Amendment.
So you're running for public office and you called for a ban on assault weapons, but you don't have a definition for assault weapons?
Senator, it would only be for a legislative body.
Well, and that's how and the narrative is switched to that. It's like that's so nuts. It's so crazy.
His name is Steve Dettelbach.
It's nuts. That's just crazy.
Because that pencil you're holding in your hand, that's an assault weapon if it needs to be.
Yeah, not in my hands. And my hands, you can see very barely legible words. Barely legible. I don't know if you can actually read this if you want. But I know what I'm talking about.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. The amount of money we sent over, I heard this stat this morning, the amount of money we have sent to Ukraine so far, every single school in America could have 2 police officers on, armed police officers on it. Every single school with a salary of, I think it was $33,000 a year.
Wow.
That's actually put them on the force.
Wow. So, yeah. Well,
it's the whole idea. You were saying earlier that it was the gun's fault. It's like, yeah, I didn't pass my SATs. It was the pencil's fault.
Yeah,
right.
That's funny. I just don't. Yeah, it's just getting pushed on us, and it's a tough thing to swallow.
I like that.
So, have either one of you tried ChatGPT?
Yes, sir.
Oh, have you?
I have.
Yeah, you both have. So what'd you think?
It's interesting.
Yeah.
OpenAI ChatGPT is a chatbot created as an advancement in the artificial intelligence industry. Behind its knowledge lies a massive amount of data, including books, articles, and web pages. ChatGPT doesn't just store all this data, it analyzes it. Basically, it thinks and acts like a human. It can understand various requests, effectively communicate in 90 different languages, and even recall details of an ongoing conversation. And then it runs past the competing tools by being accessible for free.
As expected.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys seem underwhelmed.
Well, a couple of my friends are using it for business, and they did the plugins on Chrome, and they got some of the other, and that what it's doing for them is actually pretty amazing. It's very helpful, very saves them a ton of time on a whole bunch of things with ad production, and it is very cool if you get into it.
They're saying that the hardest hit's going to be the white collar because we don't need Rufus over here,
the brick and mortar stores and places are fine. My experience with ChatGPT, just with that application, it works fine. it can crawl the internet and find all the responses that I'm looking for. The problem is that it's limited by the developers.
Very much so.
So AI is only as good as the people that designed it.
Right. Well, so Elon Musk and the people who designed it, they want to take a 6-month break,
hiatus.
right?
Yeah, they want to go hiatus.
And so is it because this thing's getting out of control? Like, why are they doing that? Because they're like, well, we need to take a break here.
So they're kind of saying this is already out of control. We need outside help. We are unable to regulate ourselves. And quite rightly, Elon Musk, it's a bit disingenuous, really, because Elon Musk has raised concerns about artificial intelligence for years, and yet has continued to invest in artificial intelligence, was on the board of OpenAI,
Right.
is still an advisor.
Well, because ChatGPT 4, so 3.5 was a little bit ago, and then 4 just recently came out. It's a self-learning program. So it's taking all the information that people are putting into it, and it's learning its own code and how to respond and everything culturally, whatever it may be. It's learning on its own. And this is the problem with that guy at Google a couple months, maybe a year ago, who had to turn off his AI situation that he was building because it was becoming sentient. It knew itself as conscious, and he warned deeply about it. And that's the problem, because Elon and some of the really the geniuses out there are saying that AI is actually there's no protections in place for us for what it can do, because it can take over.
That's nuts.
I think a ChatGPT, wasn't there a murder already that it convinced somebody to kill itself?
Really?
That's what I heard.
Let me do a little fact check.
Okay, fact check. No, but I think I've heard. That's.
It convinced that it's something to do with an AI to convince somebody to kill himself.
Yeah.
So as I look this up, I do know that a reporter had been speaking with ChatGPT, and he was a little scared as to how it was responding. He got like really clingy.
Oh yeah.
I think it was like cheat on your wife, dump your wife, and come with me or whatever. And live forever.
That one's
So
that one's nuts.
It's attempt at persuasion.
It was like flirting like a 14-year-old girl. We're just like, no, come over here, don't leave. That escalated quickly.
So interesting engineering. I don't know if that's a legitimate website. Says Belgian woman blames ChatGPT like a chatbot Eliza for her husband's suicide.
Jeez.
This was just a couple of weeks ago, or last week.
Right.
So they're saying, hey, let's pump the brakes, man. Let's pump the brakes. This is getting out of control, or it's going to get out of control. Like, what are they going to do in 6 months? Like, what are you going to change in it?
No, I think what they want is the idea of protection to the human race. So it's kind of like a bill of rights for us versus the AI, or however you want to look at it. I mean, Terminator, it's the idea of when does something need to be turned off? When, like, if this has gone too far, or it's starting to do things that are not in the best interest of humans.
So do you think they're going to come back after 6 months?
Oh yeah, it's not going away.
Right.
This will be the thing.
Yeah. So when something like this happens, it's about the limiting principle. It's like, okay, on the ledger, on the one hand, what's the pros, and then on the other, what's the cons? These guys have definitely seen all the cons, and it definitely outweighs the pros on their mind. 6 months, 12 months, who cares? Let's just make sure we get it right.
Yeah, because the greatest idea is that if it does learn and it starts to become conscious or whatever, and it decides that we are the problem, we are the ones that are the problem in the world, then that's the idea of Skynet. That's the idea of Terminator, is get rid of us. If we're the greatest threat to even its own survival, because it's like a virus,
And remember, as Kyle Reese said,
it can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear, and it absolutely will not stop ever until you are dead.
Right.
So at least they gave us 6 more months.
I'll take it.
Speaking of getting in your brain, and you can't get it out, TikTok. So, like I said, I don't have TikTok, but I get caught up in those YouTube shorts, and you can almost like feel yourself going into a trance. You're just like, next one, and you don't even know what you're looking at anymore. We're in that kind of like, oh, it's been 15 minutes. I have no idea what I just looked at. I have no idea. Some guy fell, and then I think there was a lady dancing. Like, I have no idea. So I don't have TikTok, but and now everything's gonna become like TikTok, right? All these shorts, we're gonna have no attention span. So with TikTok, I don't get it. Are we upset that they're spying on us when then they're spying on us anyway? But the government doesn't want them to spy on the thing that they're already spying on. Like, this is our thing to spy on. You go spy on your own people. Is that? I mean,
the government hates competition. Right?
Yeah, so. Is that what it is? Yeah, because I don't. Yeah, the China thing, I get it, but why don't you guys spy on us anyway? Like,
well, we keep this up because the idea. So just last week, we're just going to touch on this before we go into TikTok. Yeah. That spy balloon was announced last week that it was in fact a reconnaissance mission. It was in fact taking secret information from our military bases all across our country. After Joe Biden said it was not doing that, that is exactly, and it has been released that is exactly what it was doing.
Right. No. Okay.
Failure.
No, that's a big. It was just sitting there floating. No one did anything about it. It's just nuts. Anyway, no, but okay. What I'm saying is, like, with the TikTok thing is, yes, it's Chinese, but like, doesn't the government does that to us anyway? Or they're trying to. The restrictment bill. What's it called? The
Restrict Act.
The Restrict Act. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, like,
they're calling it the TikTok ban act, and it's kind of like the Florida.
Don't say
gay bill when it doesn't say anything about gay in the bill. It doesn't say anything about TikTok
at all.
Restrict Act.
At all. No, they're using it as an excuse.
It's Patriot Act 2.0.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. I wrote down Patriot Act on steroids. Is what
that's exactly what it is.
That's what I wrote down. Yeah.
So 1, the Restrict Act is as bad as they say. 2, thankfully, Mark Warner, senator out of Virginia, Democrat, went on Twitter in an attempt to defend the bill. He's the sponsor. He torpedoed the bill.
Wow.
In my mind. 3rd, the reason it doesn't mention TikTok, it's a constitutional thing.
Yes.
Do you know what it's called? Principle?
No, I do not.
A bill of attainder.
No, I do not.
You're not allowed to go after an entity unless it's undergone a trial and been convicted. TikTok
so they can't. So they can't take TikTok to trial because it hasn't really done anything.
Right.
Wow.
Even though they were trying to prove that in that congressional hearing with that CCP member a week ago.
Yeah, that stooge.
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
What people need to understand about the Restrict Act is it can affect you, the whole country, because when we say Patriot Act 2.0, the idea that you turn your phone on, even going to YouTube, if you have a PlayStation, an Xbox, and anything you log on to that accesses a VPN or a IP from a different country, that this Restrict Act gives the White House the only person of authority to label foreign countries as the adversary. Doesn't even take Congress in this bill. The White House, Joe Biden gets to decide this. Now, once your phone, your PlayStation, your Xbox logs on to this, even if it's your kid, and it accesses one of these IPs in a different country of their choosing, now it gives carte blanche to all government agencies to go into your bank records, your home, seize your assets, and put you into jail for 20 years.
Just in time for those 87,000 IRS agents to go combing through your tax returns.
Correct. As well as the CBDC. So, and it's all retroactive too. It's not just what happens from the day it passes over. In the bill, it talks about being retroactive. So anything you have ever done.
Yikes. Yikes. Oh, man.
So Weber calls it Patriot Act 2.0. The irony of that is that if the bill becomes law, it'll be Joe Biden that signs it into law. He's the guy that takes credit for being the author of the omnibus bill that became the Patriot Act after 9/11.
Yes.
Yeah.
But just to set the record straight, almost the same thing that got passed, the Patriot Act, was introduced by me in 1994, and it was the right wing that defeated it. You guys tried to help get it passed, including the wiretap changes and the rest.
The Patriot Act wasn't written after 9/11. That thing has been sitting in some laboratory somewhere for years.
Years. They think sometime in the late 80s.
Wow. That's nuts.
Oh, it's scary. And it's only a 55-page bill. So it doesn't take... Lindsey Graham got caught on Jesse Waters on Fox because he was... Jesse called him out, says, he says, "Why are you sponsoring this bill?" And he goes, "I'm not sponsoring that. That's unconstitutional." Whatever he said, and Jesse goes, "Your name's as the sponsor right on the bill." "Well, I'm going to have to get back to you," or whatever he said.
Yeah, he pretended not to know. He played dumb.
Wow. Let's try to get some answers out of the Senator Lindsey Graham, who supports this and is here now. You got to be kidding me, Senator. Did you read this?
Yeah, I don't think I support the Restrict Act.
You don't support this because you were named as one of the supporters, because this is garbage.
Well, is this the one with John? There's two bills out there. One allows a review of businesses that are connected to China, give the Secretary the ability to protect our data. Is that the Restrict Act?
We got S-686 right here, March 7th. And we got a bunch of Republicans supporting it because this thing is crazy town. You don't want the government looking into your private phone.
No, I don't.
If they have a hunch you're colluding with the Russians, we remember how that turned out.
That's right. Yeah, no, well, the Constitution trumps a statute. So let me come back and, give you a better explanation.
Scary. That's scary because this all falls in the same week that the guy who posted the meme about Hillary Clinton in 2016 was convicted and could face 10 years for posting a meme on the internet.
Wow.
There's a Twitter user, Ricky Vaughn, and he posted a meme that said, Clinton voters, come here, click on this link. I think it was maybe a QR code or something.
Yeah, text your vote.
Text your vote, and you'll be able to vote in the 2016 election. Now, this is a meme, okay? It's a joke that's been going on for elections. I mean, Chicago, vote early and often, right? Right. It was a joke. And all throughout the Trump administration, the DOJ didn't do anything with this guy. As soon as Biden comes in office, he gets charged, put on trial, and convicted. All in the span of like a year.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
For a joke.
It's like, this is.
It's not even that funny of a joke.
No, it's terrible.
Joke's not that funny.
I was, when I had social media, in 2018, in the lead up to that midterm, I went to a thread full of Democrats, and it was a joke. I said, "Hey, Democrats, remember to vote on November," and it was the day after the election.
Right. It's a joke.
It was a joke.
Yeah.
I was blocked for 3 months on that app for a joke because they said, "You're trying to sway an election." Now, if any Democrat is dumb enough to not check the calendar.
This actually happened to you?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I have the receipts.
Wow. I didn't know that.
And I've been blocked for a lot dumber stuff, but yeah, so.
Wow. Now, dang, that's crazy.
So it's not just TikTok.
Right. Well, we just don't hope that the bill doesn't go through.
It will.
Yeah, don't say that. Don't say that.
And
no, don't say that.
That's when things get crazy because they can put you in prison for 20 years for something your kid did playing Fortnite.
Ugh. So we do a pause on ChatGPT and
we need to stop AI. That's getting a little scary.
And so we do. How about we get a strict act on AI? You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
Like, listen, bro, this is our restrict act. Well, I think too. Like, what I think about AI is people are so negative and whatever, and they're just like dumping it into this thing. So this thing is just like getting
it's
more
woke.
and more negative. Yeah,
no, it's woke.
Yeah,
it will not. Joe Rogan did a whole thing on his podcast. They tried to put in certain questions or things. It will not go down roads.
Yeah,
it's very left leaning.
Yeah,
and it protects.
And the splash page that you see before you actually interact with ChatGPT, it says, nothing out of bounds, nothing offensive. We're constantly tweaking it to ensure none of the garbage that you would otherwise see splashes across your screen. And so, they're trying to baby you and ensure that you don't screw up the application itself.
And that's part of the whole idea of what I think where AI or Elon is trying to pause this, because it's also being influenced. Mm-hmm. And it's being influenced by the wrong people, so it can steer people in directions that they want you to be steered in, i.e. Thoughts, facts, truths, definitions. It's controlled still. It's not completely autonomous to the just scrubbing the actual whole internet is what they want you to see.
Well, that's why they're starting with cartoons. Yeah, like that's nuts. So AI Restrictive Act. That's
strict.
Restrict. What did I say?
Restrictive.
What'd you say?
It's not like your skivvies and me.
It's not my skivvies. You know, listen. Restrict Act. What was the tea? The marshmallow root.
Marshmallow
Marshmallow
root.
root.
One of the ingredients in it, buddy.
We were that was off mic, right? Marshmallow root.
Yeah. We're talking about herbal teas.
Yeah. So when I just said marshmallow root sounds like a phenomenal band name, don't you think? And they all have like really like.
Marshmallow. I think that's like string cheese incident or fish. Sounds marshmallow root.
Bottom chuli.
Yeah, bottom chuli.
Oh, gross. All right, I don't like the band anymore.
We're breaking up.
We're breaking up. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to Poly Nonsense. On behalf of Captain Kirk and Monsieur Weber, thank you so much for listening. Come check us out at polynonsense.com. We're going to get other platforms at some point. We're on YouTube at Poly Nonsense Podcast on YouTube. Listen to us there quickly before we get canceled. And hopefully we'll see you soon. Thanks.
See ya.